Hey, this is Nathan Young, founder and author of How to Be Second. And this is 1 Second, a conversation between two people with wildly different identities, reacting raw to questions from people like you, and exploring how we are different while embracing that we're better together. In our vernacular at How to Be Second, I am a second, and my co host, Mondo Davison, is a natural one I see.
Yo, Nathan, it's so dope when things are going great. You just think about walking in and you and your boss have a great relationship at work, or being home and saying, "Hi, honey," and everything going great at home or with your kids. When things are going good, they are going great. However, there are times when things do not go as planned. So, when do you know it's not working? And I'm asking specifically, as a second working with the one I see, when do you know it's not working?
So I perceive it not working about 3 months in advance of that becoming true. Maybe the real question is, do I ever actually think it's working? I see in the domino line, I see an implication, I see in whatever. And so at some point, there's a scenario playing in my head at any given moment that is a catastrophe. Sort of like everything I do is avoiding a catastrophe. I was giving a talk yesterday talking about like what seconds are. And I'm in front of this room of people, and somebody was like, do you think that's part of the reason that seconds are like always hunting for more detail, like around the plan? And I started to answer and I pulled back for a second and I remembered some of the conversations that we had. And I said, I think seconds really want to do well. I think seconds want to know that it's working, that things are going well. And I think a lot of the reason that we're pulling details, yes, it's because we're forming a plan so that we can start doing the thing, right? And also because we're trying to avoid failure. Like we're very risk averse. And so I think actually a lot of our endless energy comes from the avoidance of failure rather than for things to go well. And so when do I know it's not working? I always assume we're one step away from it not.
That's interesting. Okay, let me ask a follow up.
Uh,
Have you ever been
yeah.
in a reverse role? It's not working for you because it's too easy.
Yes, shockingly, yes. And I'll say one more thing on the when do I know it's not working. The more mature that I've gotten, the more willing I have been to face the idea that that things might not be going well on a even more regular and consistent basis. That the idea of asking, what do we wish were going well, is like a common question that deserves to be asked on a regular basis. Not just how can we do better, not just like the relentless pursuit of better, but to just specifically ask, like, is there anything we wish were going well? Not catastrophically, maybe something just like irksome. There's a thorn in your side. There's a thing that like is going fine, but you just wish it could get turned up. You know what I mean? I wish I were hitting 11. And normally truth comes out in that moment. It often takes a second. And what I found is that I know it's not working when I combo that question on a consistent basis with what's going well, because what's going well deserves to be asked just as often as how can we do better. And when I ask those two questions in combination, and you can't think of an answer for what's going well, and you just see that pensive look on the face of like the blank stare of like, then you're like, oh, okay, which is crazy because it can be, you can ask that question, get the blank stare about what's going well, get that sense of like, I just have to grit my teeth and answer the what's going well question with anything I can find before we get to the what I wish were going well, and then I can explode. And you can see it on a person's face. You can feel it. And you can have shown up that day with a scorecard of perfect numbers. And so like that's when I know it's not working, is when I ask the questions in combination and they just literally can't. And I am like, well, it's not working because that person is distraught, or they're focused on the wrong things, or all the lights are green, but the system doesn't produce the result that we actually wanted.
Yeah,
So the system is working perfectly, but it didn't make the.
yeah. It's just like, oh, okay, the easy bake oven dinged, but like whatever came out the easy bake oven is right, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oops. I was
Yeah.
supposed to make a cake. This is a biscuit making machine.
Right. Okay, that's super dope. Okay, I'm with you. Um,
That's I'll answer your original question, unless I've caught something up
No, no,
now.
no, no,
Do
you're
you have
good.
something else
No,
rising up?
go for it.
I remember being at Search Lab. I'm positive no one from my previous lives will ever listen to this podcast, but just in case you do, just know, Search Lab person, I really enjoyed my time there until the last couple of months, because this is the answer to this question. In the last 6 months at Search Lab, I proposed to become the CEO. I wrote this big letter, and I didn't have the language for secondness and second in command. I didn't have any of this language. And what I was effectively proposing was a CEO title, but a second in command role. So I basically pitched to become the CEO, but the letter that I wrote effectively read as a second in command. I still have the letter, actually. And I got told no, I got shut down. And part of the reason I got shut down was that I had actually answered the question a year prior. Like, if everything goes south, if the first in commands sort of like have a problem, would Nathan step in and become the first in command? And I was like, no, I don't have any interest in that. And they were like, okay, so you just don't have what it takes to be to be the top person. So I got turned down, and they were like, but you are incredible as a leader. You've been this manager person, and you are the CFO. And so I sat in the finance chair, being our like finance genius person, for 6 months, bored out of my fucking mind, knowing that I was done. Right? Like, this was it. I was getting paid pretty well at the time. I was doing my job super easily, all-star performer. Everybody liked me. I knew the entire company because I was like employee number 4, right? Like, all green lights. I was bored to tears, and they did not know it was not working. I was just fucking done.
Huh. So,
So
so did you leave knowing that you wanted to still fulfill a second seat, or did you leave thinking I might have to be the boss now? I'm just thinking about your growth arc as a human because you wrote that letter like, I'm never going to be behind this first in command that is I don't want to talk about this person, but I guess they just didn't
yeah,
execute at the highest level that they could have potentially. Did you feel
yeah.
like you had to sit in the top seat after leaving there? Or did you feel in your heart like, no, I'm still willing and okay and willing to follow somebody else, or I was still trying to find like that second in command role?
I was really torn. I left to become the first in command. I felt like I needed to step into that. Like, maybe I had to become that thing. And I felt like I had the opportunity open to me. And I didn't leave in a pleasant way. Like, I started by leaving in a pleasant way. I had a conversation with my first in command. It was like all good vibes or whatever. But then people started reaching out to me. Customers started reaching out to me and being like, we heard you're leaving. Can we come? And I had asked for a raise and a non-compete, and they didn't give me them. So when customers started reaching out being like, can we leave and come to your new whatever you're doing? Are you willing to start an agency and compete directly? And can I leave and become your first client? Was effectively the conversation I was having. And I was like, bet your ass you can't. Because I was pissed. I had
Yeah.
just gotten shut down for being the CEO, and I had just gotten a customer call me up and be like, just like a little reminder, your boss wasn't willing to pay you for a non-compete, and I was like, well, I guess you're about to discover that I am very threatening. And they did.
Yeah.
I think 30 to 40% of their clients left and came with me for a
Mm.
time,
Yeah. Yeah.
some for a very long time,
Yeah.
I'm thankful to say. So yeah, I did feel the pressure to become a first in command, and I did. It sucked because the seat of the CEO is relentless. The jacket fits in a particular way, and my body is shaped in a particular way. And I had enough energy, just pure fucking spite energy. You know what I mean? It powered me through the first year, the first dozen clients, the first 5 team members, whatever. The first few $100,000 of growth, it powered me through that. Like, I built a company
Yeah.
off of pure spite, chip on the shoulder energy, and then it was gone. And then we hit the ceiling, and it didn't ever get better.
So okay, let me ask this question. Because you were in that seat, did you know when it was not working in advance, like you said, when you were in the second seat?
Same answer to the first thing. It was always just like avoiding catastrophe. It always felt like it was one step away from not working.
Got it. Huh. It's interesting because you
In
said
the
that.
end, what's that?
No, it's just super interesting because, again, you talk about like that predisposition, right? Of like avoiding catastrophe. And again, the first and seconds have different mindsets. And I'm like,
Mhm.
ooh, catastrophe. Let me go dance in it. Right? Like, and like while I'm dancing in it, I'm like, hey, Nathan, I think I'm going to need you to build some contraption to get me out of this catastrophe. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I don't want to go in there, but if I can just be on the fringe building this bridge to get you out, all for it. And I feel like that is how this combo works, where there is somebody who is willing to dive right into the catastrophe, and there's another person
Mhm.
who's like, I'll get right up to the line, and then I'll build some systems or some supports or some bridges to then like make sure I'm not gonna fall in first, and then like everybody else then can like cross it too. And so like that's super dope. I like that analogy actually.
Yeah. I definitely Search Lab was definitely like a catalyst moment for me because I didn't know this at the time, but I actually had a one IC, a natural one IC who was there that I got to partner up with for a long time. And his name was Scott. So Scott, if you ever hear this, shout out, man. Thank you for being that guy. And when the whole thing broke down, Scott was actually already gone. And I couldn't talk to Scott anymore. Um, the partners like had a disagreement. I wasn't part of it. The guy who owned the company ended up kicking Scott out, and then had like some legal stuff happen. So like Scott couldn't talk to any of us. He had a non compete, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so when the whole thing broke down, Scott wasn't around, and it was really interesting because effectively they had taken away my Batman, and so I was just like adrift,
Yeah.
and I didn't. I was adrift and I was bored,
Yeah.
and Scott was insane, but I mean, while he was around, we kept growing, and then as soon as he was gone, we stopped. I didn't get to start hanging out with Scott until, man, 7 or 8 months or something into starting the next thing, because his contract still weren't up, and like we could, like I reached out to him, and he's like, "Oh, we can't talk, dude." Um, that sucked. Like,
Yeah.
so, and we never really got to like reset. And so like by the time my energy was like gone, all of my, piss and vinegar I lost it.
Yeah.
I didn't get to reconnect with my one IC there. And so then it was just sort of like, ah, shit, I was adrift. And
Hmm.
so yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I almost didn't know. I was trying to constantly stay astray from the catastrophe there. I got just enough, like, I'll do it my damn self, that I was willing to like do the thing, which is commonly how seconds end up as first in commands,
Yeah.
is they just have this like really strong sense of like, I'll do it my damn self. Um, we're not normally inspired to like do a thing. Normally it's like out of a sense of like duty.
Yeah. 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 Because you believe you
Um,
have the competence, the
yeah,
know-how, like I can get this done. And if I don't, I'm just doing a disservice to, I don't know, the whatever the outcome is. Like I can't just walk
yeah.
away from saving the dog if I believe I can save the dog. So let me save the dog.
I've dug in pretty far on my side on this. And so now I'm really curious. Like, yes, from my perspective, sort of eternal realist. I'm gonna be optimistic and say realist. Uh, when do you know it's not working?
When you were talking about, hey, I know 3 months in advance that it's not working, or I can see the dominoes falling in a direction where it's not working, and I'm 99% certain that it's not going to work. I thought to myself, do I relate to that? And my gut response is no. So I was like, well, Mondo, how do you answer this question? And I would say that it's hard for me to know when it's not working. It's abundantly clear when I recognize that it's not working at the gear that it could be working. And that typically
Mm,
comes from me experiencing something or something in the world or a conversation or experience. And I'm like, oh, so you saying it should or could be working like this? Oh, are you saying that these humans that I have in these seats actually need to have like 6 more levels of competence so they can deliver like this? And then I'm like, oh, well, then this isn't working, right? Like,
mm,
because I just have this new awareness of like what working actually is. It's just like, yo, Mondo, can we drive to the store? And it's like, yeah, there's a buggy outside and you can have somebody push you to the store, right? Like you're getting to the store in a buggy with the horsepower of a little kid, right?
yeah.
Versus, yo, I have a V8 engine, right? Like Corvette
Yep.
getting me to the store. And so, as a first in command type, I can literally like think about these seasons in my life where I'm like, oh, I'm riding a scooter. Scooter's not it. Oh, I'm riding a bike. Oh no, like now I'm actually on a motorcycle. Oh, now I'm actually in a car. But it is in my blind spot like every leap. And then I'm
Mhm.
just like, oh man, I didn't even know this thing could get better. And so um you and I both like allude to Coalition 9 sometimes. And I would say like C9 was kind of like jumping from, oh, I'm in a car to, oh, this is what Bentley looks like or feels like because I'm surrounded by a bunch of elite talent in their own seat. And I'm just like, oh, if we all did something together, it would definitely be a rocket ship. But I didn't even know what I was doing was not working because I couldn't contrast it to this C9 group. I'm thinking the talent that I have on my team, myself included, right? Like I'm
Sure.
juggling, trying to do so many things, not even recognizing that, bro, you're like a C minus in all these different areas, and you think you're an A minus, and it's like not even close, right? And so the not working is just the self awareness of what good is, right? And I know you can talk about that with so much fidelity, like, hey, I didn't know what good is until I was exposed to good and gooder and goodest.
Yeah. So, okay, so this is really interesting to me because you just answered that question almost verbatim. And because I'm a librarian, as we've discussed, I know where this clip is. It would take me a minute to find it, but I know where it is. We did a fireside chat. Alec Broadfoot, who is the first in command at this recruiting firm called Vision Spark. And I'm a huge fan of their work. And they were willing to do a fireside chat with us. We were talking about all this stuff, and he said exactly the same thing. He even used those rankings. He was like, I thought that I was doing these 6 jobs at like an A minus. Like I thought I wasn't quite. And he's like, I didn't even know, I didn't have in my head how bad I was because I didn't know how good it could be. He said the same thing. He's like, I'm an eternal optimist. So I just always thought that I was doing like pretty good, but not what it could be potentially. Right. But I know I'm good at stuff and I know I'm willing and like I'm throwing myself at it and like who else can really be that much better than me? We have a term for this, how to be second. We call it knowing what 10 is. Like on a scale of 10, part of the reason seconds have such deep imposter syndrome is that we know what 10 is. I talk about this in the book. I'm like, look, if a second is going to go play basketball, the first thing we do, like we go play basketball for a little while, sure. But like the one of the first things that we're going to end up doing is because we have this deep sense of like needing to know what good is, possibly to avoid failure, we often go figure out what best looks like. And so by the time we're in whatever they call junior basketball,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, I didn't do sports in school. Know who Jordan is. We know who Kobe is. We know who, like, we know what 10 is. It's the first thing we go figure out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we hold ourselves to that standard all of the rest of the time.
And this is so cool because the necessity of you knowing what 10 is in that seat and holding yourself to that standard is the superpower that helps you like reach for the next thing and like all these like small things that know you're like, I got to master this. I can sharpen that edge. Like that being your superpower is so necessary. Where in contrast, the naivete or the ignorance that I have that allows me to walk into rooms and talk with so much confidence is so one, it sounds like ridiculous, but like I could literally like if I went back in time and I watched myself like pitch or do a keynote or like be like very like with so much vigor and passion about I know this way is right and like myself just sitting in the room like buddy just wait till next week like I've played that over and over and over and over but then right like it's as if on a different in a different realm like the spiritual body is like you keep breaking through the glass ceiling because you continue to go be courageous and bold and go into these environments. And so, like, how you're breaking through isn't materializing in the earthly realm, but like if you
Mhm.
keep doing this thing and you keep finding yourself in positions where maybe you humble yourself, but you still are like, I'm getting closer to recognizing that I don't know what I don't know. And now I still have to go be brave. I still have to go be courageous. It's as if like God gifts the one I see with like this unique gift, right? This unique thing. I don't even know what it is. It's just like because you put in so much work being brave through your ignorance, uh, you are going to eventually end up being perceived as the fool, and you are going to likely be shunned for being the fool or laughed at for being the fool. But then if you walk through that full season holding your head up high, still having compassion, still like showing up for others and still continuing to be the good guy or good gal in the story, you're like blessed on the other side of like being a fool because you're just like, oh yeah, like I had to go through that. I had to build this castle of I know it all and I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, or whatever. And then like you had to break it all down like with a foolish hammer. And yeah, I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but I'm just really reflecting and looking at myself and seeing how many times that cycle has played over and over and over. Because I
Yeah.
feel like eventually I have found myself in a seat that is considered wise.
Hmm.
Wise because I've accomplished the foolish adventure.
Yeah.
And so then when I see another version of me, I don't take it personal because I'm just like, oh, like you're doing the fool's errand arc too, right? And like I just have so much compassion because I just know how the story unfolds.
This is so funny to me because what you basically you said it, but I did think it was hilarious that you basically said my superpower is being so risk averse that I know what 10 is. So every time I walk into a room, I have this deep sense of uh imposter syndrome because I'm a 6 out of 10. Right? I've put in the work. I'm pretty good. But I'm not LeBron. But like I'm pretty good. Like I've studied LeBron. I've put in, like I put in my time. I've done a lot of drills in practice in private where nobody can see me screw up all the time. Like so like I'm not bad. I'm like a 6 out of 10. I'm in a sea of threes who don't even know what 10 is. They don't even fucking know. And the hilarious thing is, your superpower is never having any idea what 10 is. Like naive. You said naive, right? And like when you look at that from a purely competence, you suck. You kind of suck. You're like not very good. But when you look at that from well, then what's our superpower? Because I walk in, we talk about Lego all the time. I love Lego. I've watched every Lego Masters season. I've put together dozens of Lego master built Lego kits. I've looked at the fan stuff that people have built. I've built stuff on my own. And you know what I know? So I know what 10 is. I know what it is. I've seen Lego masters build their craft. I know what it looks like to present something that wins a competition, that wins you a salary as a Lego master builder in Denmark. So I always show up to the Lego table being like, well, like, that's the standard. And you are like, let's build a fucking dinosaur. So then I build what I think is a shitty dinosaur. And you're like, holy crap. You built a whole ass dinosaur from like literal nothing. Like it's incredible. And then you go and you see the next thing and realize that the dinosaur I built is fine. And you're like, wait, but we could build this other thing, hey, with laser beams and other shit, like this dinosaur could go to the moon. And I'm like, well, yeah, it always could. I didn't
Yeah.
know that's what you wanted. And the reality is you didn't know that's what you wanted. You
Facts.
just discovered it. I've known it the whole time. I never really have been able to get there because I was only 6 out of 10. Hilariously, if two people can stay on that journey long enough, you're relentlessly, like you said, going to become wise through your unrelenting willingness to adventure.
Yeah.
You've been doing
Yeah.
that the whole time. That's your superpower, is to never be like, it's not working because I'm not a master. It's not working because I'm not satisfied.
Yeah, yeah, I know you talk about,
Right?
and I don't
Yeah.
want to introduce a new term, but it's a
Hmm.
term that you talk about a lot, which is convincing energy. I have an unlimited gas tank of convincing energy for myself. I've
Yeah.
convinced myself that my convincing energy of me is like unlimited, and I can just keep going
Yeah.
until this dinosaur is a Rex mixed with a toad mixed with the whatever, right? Like we're gonna
And
find
it's going
that
to be
thing.
awesome.
It is right.
That's very funny. It's this whole conversation is funnier because over my like right here over Thanksgiving weekend, um, that's what I did. I put together this incredible Balrog and uh, Gandalf like Lego set. You know, it's like 2,500 pieces. It's got flames and it's got the, you know, whatever. And I'm just like, oh, that thing was awesome. The experience of it was awesome. And like feeling the sort of the mastery of not just the building it and thinking about the person who designed the actual set, but that who designed the experience that I got to go on recreating the set. If that makes sense. Like there's two levels there. You have to make something awesome, but then you have to make something that feels awesome to make again. That's crazy. Like
Yeah.
the depth of what it is to be a master. And I loved that experience. And so while we're having this conversation, I'm like staring at that thing, thinking about the feeling that I had, how I was like so in awe of that, that it almost set me on a path of like never chasing it because I know and because I feel like it's so far away that I'm like, well, I won't. I already know right now that me trying to be that thing is not working.
Hmm.
It would be easier to not know. I've really done myself a disservice.
And now you're staring at
Just
it
a
every day.
funny. Now I'm staring at it every day in awe of someone else who will be a 10, who is a 10 that I will never be. And and always I will be somewhat dissatisfied being at the Lego table, right? I'll show up thinking it's not quite working. And just thinking about like on some level that is my superpower because I can bring the expertise to the table right away. And like I said, you show up and you're like, let's build shit with Lego. And then I build a dinosaur because I saw the thing that got built over the weekend by a master. And then I was like, sure, I can replicate some shitty version of that. And you're like, holy crap, that's incredible. And I'm like, but you maintain the superpower the entire time of convincing yourself at every next stage to never assume there is not a next stage.
It's to me, eventually there's an 11.
Yeah.
Like where you're
Yeah.
just like, here's the master, here's 10. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
cool. But eventually there's an
Right.
11. I don't
Right.
know what it is, how we get there, but let's keep doing this thing until an 11 becomes the standard.
Uh, that we always talk about this. We always land here, which is right. That's how it should land. On some level, that's the deal is that I might become a 10 eventually. Probably I won't become a 10 at what I'm good at without you because I'll stay locked at a 6, risk averse to get better. You will want something beyond what I'm capable of because you'll see it. I will have to grow. At some point, I will be like, I'm maxed out. I am Lego master. And then you'll be like, but 11, do it again. And I'll be like, impossible. I'm a Lego master. I'm at 10. And you'll be like, but we could add laser beams. Like, just that. And you know what? And then we will find 11.
Yeah. And then we will find 11. It's so
It's so
like,
annoying.
man. But that exploration, and I'm gonna tie this into last episode because I felt like the way that you teed up, like what to ask God for, right? Is it like only the things that you can see, or are you gonna ask God for 11? You were like, yo, God, can you just give me the money to pay my rent? And you talked about like, oh, God was gonna give you 11, but you only asked for 6, and so like He just gave you
Mhm.
the thing that you asked for, and I feel like the glory of going on this journey together, man, and discovering 11 and then 12 and then whatever else is next is
I have no idea what Samantha is going to do with this conversation because it's the full time, but also I can't imagine it being less. And I'm going to put it down right here. Hey, it's Nathan again. If you made it to the end, that's awesome. I have a couple ways you can go deeper if you're interested. If you resonated with the way that Nathan talked about himself, I am Nathan, you might be what we call a second. This is an identity, not a role. We have a couple ways to dig into that curiosity. You can take our Am I a Second assessment on our website at howtobesecond.com/assessment. It is directional, not definitive. You can grab the book, How to Be Second, from our website or Amazon or almost anywhere you like to buy books, including on audio read by the authors, myself and David Hartman. If you resonated with Mondo, I have a couple things for you as well. Secondseat.org focuses on sponsoring seconds to be able to sit in the second seat at youth-focused impact organizations to help them scale. Second Seat is always looking to talk to community impact organizations who are interested in getting a second, and for funding groups who want those types of organizations to succeed. If you're a for-profit, How to Be Second has a matchmaking, not recruiting, service where we make connections between first and seconds, where there's a relationship, energy, skill, and compensation match. Finally, if you're inspired by what we're doing here, you can support How to Be Second at howtobesecond.com/support. Thanks again. I'm looking forward to our next conversation.